Hi everyone, welcome back to Mindful Actions by Beth. Today, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge how to use mindfulness and self-awareness to handle tough times. Those tough days or the weeks when unexpected or unwanted news shakes us, leaving us feeling totally unsettled. If you're feeling a little bit thrown off balance right now, know that you are not alone. Today, I'm going to guide you through a few simple mindsets centered on self-awareness and self-acceptance. And these aren't quick fixes, but rather they're gentle tools to help you find a sense of calm and peace within yourself, even when the world around you totally feels out of control. But real quick, before we dive in, I just want to make a quick note that I was a guest on the Navigating Postpartum Wellness podcast with Jeray Williams this week, and the episode aired yesterday. So if you are someone who is in postpartum and is interested in incorporating mindfulness and wellness activities tailored to that specific part of your life, go check that out. The link will be in the show notes as usual. So last month, my intention was to slow down, and it was pretty successful. You can catch up on that full recap here in the show notes. But this month, I've set my intention to protect my peace and to protect the peace of my family, especially within our own home. It's been a grounding focus for me so far, especially with the insanity of this past week. And I wanted to share it in case it resonated with you and you wanted to try it as well. And it ties in perfectly with this topic this week on dealing with tough times. Protecting your peace is exactly what you need when you are feeling your worst. For me, protecting my peace at home means creating a space where my family and I can feel relaxed and we can breathe and just be ourselves and be comfortable. Part of this self-awareness journey we're on is learning our limits surrounding certain things and how they affect us. And I do want to remind you that creating peace and calm in your life is not about ignoring what's happening around you. We're not ignoring. That's also called avoidance. But instead, it's choosing moments to recharge so that when you do step out again into the chaos, you are stronger and more equipped to face whatever comes your way. If you want to set this intention with me this month, to protect your peace, let's try working through it together. I will be talking about it regularly on my threads and Instagram and YouTube posts, so let's connect over there. But now let's shift over to identifying different aspects of using self-awareness when you're dealing with tough situations that are presenting themselves to you either internally or externally. These self-awareness practices help you to process your reaction to whatever is happening. I have 5 recommendations for you that I'm going to go through. Number 1, pause and notice physical sensations within you. When you want to check in with yourself, start by observing any physical sensations in your body without attaching labels to them. So for instance, do you feel tension in your shoulders? Do you feel a knot in your stomach or tightness in your chest? Physical sensations are often the body's way of telling us that there's something we need to pay attention to. Don't ignore that. Notice those physical sensations. The next item is to track your immediate thoughts when something happens. A unique approach to self-awareness is to pause and notice that very first thought that pops up into your head when you experience something. Instead of trying to push those aside so that you can keep calm and carry on, simply observe these immediate thoughts. Noticing them helps us to understand how we are processing that moment. If your first reaction was, oh crap, this is the worst thing to happen to me in my entire life, there is definitely something that triggered your flight or fight mode in that to escalate the problem. But on the flip side, something truly awful could be happening and you're standing there in freeze mode, having no idea what to do, and you can't do anything. Both of those reactions can happen. Both of those things are totally normal. Use self-awareness to track when that happens to help you learn what those responses mean to you. The third mindfulness practice here is to notice your go-to reactions. I just talked about noticing that first reaction, but let's also pay attention to the go-to reactions that we have and when we're faced with something that's difficult or that is unwanted. Taking a moment to realize that these default reactions can actually reveal a lot about our patterns and ourselves. You might even keep a small mental note thinking, okay, I'm reacting by isolating and distracting myself. This is what I tend to do in this particular situation. This can help us to see our response patterns and give us that space to decide if that's what we want to continue to do right now, or if maybe we want to work on shifting that mindset a little bit. The next practice that you can do is observing what you resist. Self-awareness not only means to pay attention to what you're doing, but it also can mean to pay attention to what you don't do. What are you resisting? What things are you holding back? What things are you holding back from saying or actions you're avoiding? For example, maybe there's a feeling that you're avoiding putting into words or a phone call that you don't want to make. By noticing these resistances, you get insight into underlying emotions and fears that you are holding on to. All right, now in this last one, ask, what is this feeling trying to tell me about what I value? This one's important. Instead of diving straight into how you can change the feeling, try reflecting on what that feeling might say about what's important to you. If you feel anger, maybe it's because you value justice and honesty, and that's not happening in this situation. If you're feeling sadness, perhaps it's because you value connection and a sense of safety with those around you. Now, these are two very generalized examples, but this approach helps us to see emotions as signals of what we want to have in our life, of what's important to us. And it's grounding us in our values so that we know how to move forward with our next step, what is important to us. So just a real quick recap on what those were. The first is to notice physical sensations, then track your first thoughts that happen, then notice your go-to reactions, observe what you're resisting, and connect your feelings to your values to help you stand strong. So now we just covered tons of stuff on self-awareness. Let's reframe this a little bit and break down what exactly self-acceptance is and how these things tie together and connect us to what we're feeling in really, really dark and heavy times in our life. Self-acceptance is, at its core, about allowing ourselves to experience the full range of our emotions, our thoughts, our reactions without judgment. It's about saying, I see myself right where I am, and it's okay. Self-acceptance isn't about pretending to be okay with everything that happens around us. It's not a requirement to like every situation that you're faced or to avoid wanting things to be different. It's not complacency. Self-acceptance is not complacency. Rather, self-acceptance is the practice of recognizing that as human beings, we're going to have complex and sometimes really messy reactions to things. And that's a natural, deeply human part of our experience. Think of self-acceptance as giving yourself permission to sit with discomfort, anger, sadness, or whatever you're feeling without needing to immediately judge it, push it away, or fix it. This practice allows us to be fully human in each moment with all the ups and downs that come with it. I saw someone on social media this past week post about their child who was learning about bullies and was concerned that they were a bully because sometimes they're mean to their siblings. And of course, the mom explained that just that simple act of being concerned that you were the bully is exactly what makes you not the bully. Plus, we all have moments when we're mean, when we're experiencing different emotions and don't really handle it well or handle it how we want to handle it. And it's how we respond and apologize afterwards in what makes the true difference. And this example, too, of this child is a pure example of self-awareness and self-acceptance. This child recognized the behavior. That's self-awareness. They recognized that they are sometimes mean to their sibling. And they knew what they had done. They knew they'd done that, and they were uncomfortable with it. And that is self-acceptance. They weren't avoiding it. They knew that they had done it, and they were owning up to it. But then they reflected on it, and they asked questions, and they knew it wasn't a behavior that they wanted to continue. That right there is beautiful representation of acceptance and growth. When we allow ourselves to truly accept what we're feeling, it often brings a surprising sense of relief. Instead of fighting against our emotions, we're saying, this is where I am. I don't know if I like it, but it can be something that I work on to learn and grow. We don't have to love the moment or even the feelings that we're experiencing. We're simply allowing ourselves to be with them as they happen. Self-acceptance often invites us to offer ourselves compassion too. It's the difference between thinking, why the heck am I feeling this? This is horrible. And instead saying, okay, of course I'm feeling like this. This totally makes sense that I would feel this way in this particular situation. So this week for your mindful action, I'm going to take it easy on you, and I'm not going to make you do any deep reflections or journaling, unless, of course, you want to. You can always reflect on and refer on those 5 self-awareness practices I listed earlier. But instead, your mindful action this week is, as you're experiencing life's ups and downs, I want you to practice self-acceptance. I want you to practice telling yourself, it's okay to feel this way. You don't need to work on figuring out why you're feeling a certain way. You're just going to acknowledge it. If your life feels heavy right now and you feel guilty for laughing and smiling occasionally, it's okay to feel that way. You're allowed to feel moments of happiness, even while you're grieving. That's one of the ways that we get through things. Or if some parts of your life are going really well and you want to celebrate that, while other parts are totally falling apart, it's okay to feel emotions pulling you in different directions. Just remind yourself, it's okay to feel this way. Focus on self-acceptance and self-compassion this week. All right, how are we feeling about this? I feel good about this. I think we can do this. I think this is something good to focus on, protecting our peace and focusing on self-compassion. And when we're focusing on self-compassion, obviously that's also going to lead into other parts of our lives, other areas of our lives, and helping us to continue to be empathetic and have compassion towards others as well. So thank you so much for spending time with me today. We've touched on some powerful practices and ways to tune into self-awareness and embrace self-acceptance and protect our peace and do all of this in difficult times when lots of things are weighing on us. And remember that each of these tools is here to support you in finding that sense of calm within yourself so that you can share it with others. So if today's video resonated with you, please consider subscribing to stay connected with our community and leave a comment to spread a little bit of love and encouragement to one another. Until next time, stay mindful, take care of yourself, and practice self-compassion.